Hi everyone! You've probably heard more times than you can count that catching up on your reading is a great way to pass the time while you're stuck in quarantine or isolation. So I have some suggestions for you today in case you're running out of ideas. My first suggestion is to maybe revisit some of those classics that you should have read perhaps in high school or college, or that maybe you had simply a Cliff Notes encounter with. Now is a great time to revisit these wonderful works and immerse yourself in some really fantastic writing. However, I also have some recommendations that perhaps you've never heard of before. If mysteries are your thing, I recommend The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. It's a Victorian era mystery, as the cover photograph probably indicates. Don't be daunted by the thickness of the book. The first pages will grab you and suck you right into the mysterious, amazing, and fascinating world that Collins creates, with evil counts, innocent women forced into marriage, secret identities, disappearing women, has it all. If sweeping generational fiction is more your thing, I recommend Umbertina by Helen Berolini. It charts the lives of 4 generations of Italian-American women, starting with the title character, Umbertina, who comes to America as a young bride in the 19th century, and concludes with the life of her granddaughter, also named Umbertina, a doctoral student in the 60s contending with second-wave feminism in her identity and role as a woman. Poetry. I recommend this work, Omeros by Derek Walcott. He's a Nobel laureate and a Caribbean poet, quite prolific in his lifetime. And Omeros is an absolutely gorgeous reimagining of the Odyssey, a classic of Western tradition. But this is not just a retelling of that epic poem or a rewriting of that epic poem. It's Walcott's own stamp on the sweeping nature and the themes of that work through the lens of Caribbean characters and experience. It hopscotches through time and across the globe, and the rhythms and rhyme and imagery are absolutely enthralling. If nonfiction is your thing, I recommend this, Amusing Ourselves to Death by Neil Postman. Postman is a somewhat cranky cultural critic. This book was actually written in 1985, and in it, Postman explores the negative impacts of television on our ability to think, to reason critically, to take in information. Sound familiar in the age of social media and the internet? And then finally, my final recommendation is a work that for the last couple of years, anytime someone asks me, what's good to read, this will usually be among the first few things that I mention. Educated by Tara Westover. It's a memoir by a young woman raised in rural Idaho who, as the title suggests, seeks education. She was largely homeschooled and withheld from the outside world by her parents, and at the age of 17 decides to pursue formal education at Brigham Young University. And the memoir charts her childhood, which is highly unusual to say the least, and her journey into the world of academia and the world beyond. It's moving, it's beautifully written, it's powerful, and everyone I've ever recommended it to, and students who have read it in classes that I've taught, have really, really enjoyed it. So I hope you will check into at least one of those recommendations. You find something you enjoy, and I wish you the best as we work together through this very challenging time. Bye-bye.